So you like stealing from vendors, beating them up, taking their money and their product without paying for it? Okay. I can deal with you. The way I'm gonna deal with your ass is this. The same way we expose the Kyles and the Karens and the white supremacists, we're gonna do the exact same thing to you. I get your picture, I get a video, I'm gonna find out where you work, I'm gonna find out where you live, I'm gonna find out if you go to school in whatever institution you are affiliated with. They're gonna know your name, they're gonna know exactly what you did. You're not gonna hurt these entrepreneurs. They're not just vendors, these are entrepreneurs. They bought their own equipment, they generate their own revenue, they work for themselves, they don't work for anybody else. They provide for their families. Wake up early in the morning, get out there, and they're in the heat, they're in the cold all day to put food on the table. I'm going to expose you. Leave the vendors alone. Full stop.
Part number 5 of lies that the government does not want you to know.
Anybody can reach financial success if you play the games of the government. Let me tell you. First thing you need to do is get one of these trusty dusty things right here. It's called a credit card. Use this to buy things such as gas, food, and your bills if you have any already. When you get your credit card, make sure you know when your due date and your statement date is. Your due date is the day that your minimum balance is due. Your statement date is whenever all the credit bureaus check to make sure you have utilization. Quick tip. Whenever your due date comes, pay your whole entire credit card off in full and wait until after the statement date to make any purchases so that you can have a higher credit score. After a few months to a year of you using your credit responsibly, you can then go invest in real estate because they will give you higher credit limits. That's where your money will be secure and you will be making more money every single month than you do when you sleep.
All right, we got to talk about this fucking bullshit argument. The Obama administration had a policy that detained families for 72 hours tops. The Trump administration implemented policies that led to the separation of thousands of children from their parents. Now, I am not saying I am a fan of the Obama administration's immigration policies. I'm just saying those two are not comparable, all right? And unlike you brainwashed cinnamon Nazis, I can admit that the guy I voted for didn't always do everything right. Fact is, 2 years ago, Cinnamon Hitler implemented policies detaining children, including babies and toddlers, separating them from their parents, having other children tend to them, and then losing the records of those parents, all right? And now those children are coming out with reports saying they have been abused and molested, all right? And I want to ask you a fucking question. Where the fuck do you think those kids are being kept? Sure as hell ain't Motel fucking 6. Do yourself a favor, stop sucking Tucker Carlson's tit, and do your own research. And by the way, this video didn't even cover the fact that a bunch of those fucking kids have gone fucking missing.
Did you know that the word cholo actually means mixed race and mestizo? The word derives from the Nahuatl cholo. Its first documented definition was by Alonso de Molina in 1571. He said that Aztecs took it as an example of moco, pajo, or esclavo. Spaniards, being Spaniards, apply the term to refer to the offspring of an Indian and a mestizo. Mexico being Mexico, it then became a palabra to apply to the lower class people. Gabachos being Gabachos, they took the cholo and made it into a derogatory slur applicable to all undesirable Mexicans. Then pochos being pochos, they reappropriated cholo, then dumped it on gang members, not realizing that they were essentially calling the homies dirty Mexicans.
Okay, so this is what Candace Owens has to say about us Native Americans.
The concept now that Native Americans were these people that were just planting flowers, that were so kind, like the Disney movie Pocahontas, and then here came white man John Smith and his guys, and I'm like, they were literal cannibals. It's been proven beyond a shadow of a doubt. New York Times even had to run the piece. Yes, they cannibalized, they ate, they had sacrifices. The Aztecs killed hundreds and thousands of kids sacrificed to the rain gods. That stuff stopped when white men began believing in a monotheistic worldview and started assigning
Part 3 of the CIA declassified document. One of my favorite points from this article talks about how your brain is cushioned between your skull, and around it is fluid and a sac called the dura. Here's where it gets crazy. They showed that in deep relaxation and meditative states, your heart actually produces a frequency that can vibrate up and influence the dura and your brain. They say together this creates a torus field between your heart and your brain, producing an energy wavelength that's 40,000 kilometers, about the circumference of the Earth. It's so powerful, in fact, that waveform can penetrate through metal, water, steel, concrete. It's essentially a telepathic signal with others. You can send this signal out into Earth, and it's how we can raise the consciousness all together. Like this TikTok, tag someone who needs it, and go to my profile if you want the full video dropping Friday on all 6 of the CIA declassified secrets. See you there.
Why is nobody talking about this? Just listen.
There are live ETs on Earth at this present time, and at least 2 of them probably working with the United States government.
First of all, this guy's the former Secretary of Defense of Canada. He's not just some random insane dude. Second of all, this video was posted 7 years ago. Why does it only have 50,000 views? I'm guessing someone didn't want us to see it. Third of all, the same guy has said that aliens have technology that could help us with climate change, but that they won't give it to us because we're too destructive. I wanted to see if a government official actually said this, so I checked Snopes, which debunks conspiracy theories, and they have deemed this one true. I'm pretty sure this is gonna get deleted, so do what you will with this information. This is literally the tip of the iceberg. So let me know if you want me to look deeper into it. It's just strange.
You guys, I think that Howie Mandel is being held captive. This might sound crazy, but in a recent TikTok video, Howie Mandel took out a random paper bag and labeled it shoe stuff, essentially making a DIY project. But this video is full of secret messages. Just in case he is actually being held captive, please signal boost his video, comment, follow, do whatever you can. You can see in this video that he's wearing a lifeguard hoodie, and on that hoodie, it gives away where he lives, Santa Monica. But also in this video, he points to the letters SOS in a triangle. Just look at this clip.
And can you see it? It says shoe stuff, shoe stuff.
If you didn't know, the letters SOS is to signal that you are in extreme danger. Just in case you missed it, let me replay it for you.
And can you see it? It says shoe stuff, shoe stuff.
If you really took a closer look at this video, you can also notice that the S's look like 5s. Look, 2 5s. And 2 5s make 55. And if you dial the number 55, it takes you directly to the police. It shows that you're being held captive or that there's an intruder in your house and that you cannot talk. In part 2, he spells out the letter help.
Strange scene of American nationalist President Donald J. Trump seated with the aging globalist cabal of past presidents and politicians. It was awkward. But there was something else odd going on. It was noticed that several of the globalist political players received an unexpected letter inside of their program. Hillary Clinton was the only one who kept her poker face when looking at the mysterious letter. Former Vice President Joe Biden appeared to be distressed when his wife found his. Laura Bush had a look of anger and could barely keep from staring at hers. And when she showed it to Jeb Bush, as his deceased father was being carried in front of him, he was distressed enough to take his hand from his heart, and he looked rather troubled.
TikTok, you are getting good with these questions, and a lot recently around bosses. So I'm going to give you the one question you should always ask in a job interview so you can figure out what it's going to be like to work for this boss. When it gets to your turn to ask questions, simply say, can you tell me about the most successful person you ever hired and what exactly they did to be successful? That's because whatever response they give you is what they look for in a candidate. And let me tell you why that's important. Let's say this boss was raving about work-life balance at the organization. But when you asked this question, they said, the best person I ever hired was Jim. He came in early, he stayed late, he worked weekends, I could text him, call him anytime, and he would drop everything for me. Does that sound like work-life balance to you? No, it's a very revealing question about what this boss admires and respects, which means that's going to predict what you're going to have to do to be successful and get raises and promotions. So ask that question, you will learn a heck of a lot. Listen, if you're looking for more interview tips, I've got a huge 18-question list in my bio. Go grab it for free.
How dangerous is TikTok? Well, in part 1, we discussed how the algorithm gives a psychological profile of all the users to the Chinese government.
Considering how much effort has gone into spying on other countries during wartime, TikTok is probably the height of spy technology.
But I don't think that's the real reason why they're banning TikTok. You may or may not know this, but all the media, and I mean all, is propaganda. There are only a handful of media companies, and nothing goes out without approval. And you might be like, but what about YouTube? Well, anything can be posted, not everything can be seen. Everybody knows about shadow banning. The government and the media companies have full control over what gets promoted and what gets seen. Nothing gets that big if it's a threat. But when the media is controlled by a potentially hostile foreign government, they can't control it. They can't shadow ban things they don't want us to find out. And that's why a lot of conspiracies on TikTok are being promoted, and probably why the government's shutting it down.
Here are some psychology facts about intelligence. Number 1, more intelligent people tend to care less about the opinions of others, and they also like to spend time alone because of the great sense of self. Number 2, studies have shown that IQ tests are actually really bad at measuring somebody's intelligence. And that is because a person's intelligence is actually measured by short-term memory, reasoning skills, and verbal ability, none of which are measured on an IQ test. And lastly, number 3, studies have shown that people who stay up later tend to have a higher intelligence than people who wake up early. And lastly, number 4, a correlation has been found that the smarter you are, the more at risk you are for developing a mental illness.